Oh, why'd you count the music? Cut the music off. Can we just hear it like in the background? There we go. Yeah, I'm feeling it, man. Woo! Tell me when we're live. Are we live already? Change the title. What did I title it? Oh, the STiKS Live G3 recap. Yeah, that's
Awkward.
Oopsie poopsie.
What's G3?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy, Kingdom Soldier. You changed the layout. I like it. Wait, you're not already playing the... Okay. It makes it look like the stream is mature and 17 plus. Like there's blood and gore, drug references, intense violence, and strong language in this stream. So beware. If you're a little kid, go watch Scumpy. Just joking. Alright, hold up. Advanced Warfare... When they want to... Yeah, I'll let you know. Did the title update? Whoever said that? Okay, I gotta mute this. I can hear myself. All right. So, welcome to the STiKS, guys. Sorry we're getting started like 20 minutes late. We were waiting for this dude named Hitch a Ride. He plays a lot of Call of Duty 4, and he only snipes. He doesn't let anybody else use the sniper when he plays Pro Sim. And he used to be with UMG. Now he's with Gamma. And he just decided that he was going to sleep through the show today. So he's not on here. We didn't even replace him. So we have Rage down in the bottom right-hand corner. He's from the UK. I'm going to let him introduce himself in a moment. You guys know who I am. I'm Kingdom Soldier. And I'm going to go around, Crush, introduce yourself and your affiliates within the community. And then Rage, you can introduce yourself and any affiliations you have within the COD community. Go.
What's up, guys? I'm Crush. I'm part of the Carnage NA media team. Carnage is a top AM team, if you don't know. And then I'm also a writer for COD Esports PD.
Okay, I'm Alex iRage, and well, to start off, I'm the general manager for a small organisation called STiKS. I cast a few things. I've casted EGL a couple of months ago, and also I'm a G-Fleet online admin.
Now, obviously, how is Xanax spelled? Because Xanax here in the States is a drug. So,
I probably should do more research then. Oh, that's awkward.
How is Xanax spelled?
Z-E-N-E-X.
Z? What is that?
Z? I don't know how you say it.
Oh, okay.
Z?
Yeah.
Z?
Z.
I'm learning a lot already.
No, it's X-E-N-E-X.
X-E-N-E-X. And which, did you already say? I might have missed it because I was focused on the Xanax comment. Didn't you just casted for something recently, didn't you?
Yeah, EGL 13, what was roughly around a month ago now, and that was my first more major LAN casted.
Sweet. First, but not the last, right?
Hopefully so.
All right, so all the hype is Advanced Warfare. The trailer went up. We're going to show that to you guys in a minute, and then we're going to get our feedback. And make sure you guys are in the chat. I'm watching it, so if you have any questions, I will try my best to answer them. Somebody said the stream keeps freezing. Blame goalie. It's not just saying blame goalie. It's probably your connection. Okay, so go ahead, goalie, and queue up the video. You guys can watch it with us, and then we're going to get some feedback on it. The video is? Okay. Is it playing? Well, then I should say, I'm gonna stab someone.
Whoa. Confirmed, Kingdom Soldier is a lunatic.
Fuck it, said that earlier. On stream.
Yeah, I seen that. That was funny.
I don't know if he knew he was live at the moment.
Taking the lead.
I'm behind the screen, so they probably have already watched the whole thing, but I'm kind of interested in seeing more of the sniping.
Well, you know, I've got all night, guys. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's okay. It's only what, 12:30 then?
It's 11:30, pushing on 12.
11:30.
Oh, you know. We'll see.
That shotgun is OP. I've already heard it. We don't care about this footage. We've all seen it like 17 times.
Don't worry, we'll cut it. We'll cut it. Cut. This is some bonus footage for the stream.
Never seen before.
Yeah. It's exclusive, yeah.
To the STiKS. I don't like the red dot. Yeah, it's over. Is it over yet on stream? Right. Okay, let me know. I'm watching the replay on the dashboard. It's done. Okay, it's not done for me, so I'm just gonna keep watching. You guys can watch me watch.
Wow, this is never seen before footage. That is how he watches TV. He's got that boss man pose on the go.
Watchception.
Power changes everything. That's their statement. Maybe too much power in my opinion, but we'll talk about that in a moment. All right, so Crush and Rage and myself. So my first question just for you guys is, and I'll start with Crush, what are your overall first impressions? Like when you first saw the multiplayer trailer, what were your overall just first impressions? What did you think about it? Love it, hate it? What were your first thoughts?
First thought that popped in my head was, that's different. I like it. Overall, it's going to take a lot of tweaking, in my opinion, just from that. I mean, it's a 3-minute clip, just from what I saw. Some of it's going to be cool. The jetpack could make things interesting. The dynamic maps could make things interesting. We've already seen some things. People are already talking about bans.
Yeah.
But overall, it seems like it has the potential to be a very good game. But also, it's a 3-minute clip.
Yeah, so you don't get a lot from it, and that was one of the things that I was watching. I think his name is Jehovah's Witness. I was watching his video today on Twitter, and he was saying, like, everybody's asking for all these opinions, but it's such a short trailer. We're getting such a little glimpse of the game, and everyone who's played it has said they didn't want to put it down. I mean, but that's probably for any, like, when people picked up Titanfall or Titanfall, or whatever you want to call it, when people picked that game up, they didn't want to put it down. But then 3 weeks later, they were like, dang, man, I wasted $60. You know, so I'm not saying that Call of Duty would ever do that. Because I honestly think my first impression was that it was same thing. That's different. I can't believe we went this direction. I watched the way they ran is exactly how they run in Titanfall. Like, you can tell that they have a suit on. And that's just not something that has been in the Call of Duty scene. But the way they're running, you can tell that there's something big that is making them kind of run stiffly as if they're like really ripped. And so that was something a little bit different. I didn't necessarily like that. And we'll get into a whole bunch of other stuff. But my initial impression was just, I hope this works because it's a big leap for the Call of Duty series. What did you think, Rage? What were your first impressions?
Well, again, it's similar. It's a change, but I'm kind of a little bit skeptical about obviously all the new suits such as jetpacks and the invisibility. But again, I'm kind of hoping that they probably will get banned or at least sorted out for competitive playlist. Okay,
so let's switch actually into the exosuit because that is the most consistent, the biggest, largest change that this game is making. So the exosuit is there. We haven't seen anything that allows you to take it off. So there is no gameplay without the exosuit. So that's not going to happen. We know that. We don't even know if you can. Is there a coding you can put into the game to ban like boost jump or boost dodge or any of those moves that you can do? So if you think about boost jump is basically where you can jump up into the air, and the difference between this and Titanfall is in Titanfall you kind of feel like you're floating a little, but in this game once you get up you immediately start to come down, and there's like a feeling that, okay, I'm crashing to the earth, I got to do something, I got to make a decision. The boost dodge is where you have that ability to kind of like jet out of the way or go around a wall, and you can do that in the air as well. You can jump up into the air and then boost while you're up there, and then there's that boost slide, which I thought what I saw is that when you do the boost slide, you can actually kick someone like they could in Titanfall. I don't know if that's true or not, but the boost slide is kind of like, the dive, the dolphin dive, or the slide that we have now in Call of Duty Ghosts, which has actually become kind of effective at this point in the game when you're playing Blitz. So how do you guys think that the exosuit, just those general abilities of jumping higher and boosting around corners and sliding like that with using those exo abilities, those basic three, how do you think they'll affect competitive Call of Duty? And do you think any of them will be banned? Like, are any of them just too OP for competitive? And I'll start with Rage.
All right. Well, first of all, I reckon, to be honest, all the exosuit abilities are probably going to be banned for competitive. It's a little bit of an advanced, like radical step, but I still reckon that's the truth. Obviously, the jetpacks, they're going to add a little bit more verticality in the game. So you're going to, rather than having your 3 traditional lanes, you're going to have a little bit of 9 traditional lanes, obviously, in the sky. So it's going to make it a little bit more focused towards looking up rather than looking straight ahead. Jumping around the corners, again, when you can slide, that should be interesting, especially with CTF. However, my concern is whether they actually use that, because I'm pretty sure in Halo, they stopped that. So, for example, if you had the jetpack ability and you picked up a flag, you wasn't allowed to use the jetpack anymore. So, you might see that carry on over onto the COD. What would make sense, to be honest.
What about you, Crush?
And before I start, I just want to point out there's some guys in the chat saying Fearcraz just tweeted out you can turn off the exosuit.
He did?
Oh, that's what they're saying.
I'm gonna have to check Twitter.
But here's the way I say. As far as the jump, I don't think it's really viable for competitive. It depends on what maps they use, honestly, because if they're going to use the new maps, and they're talking about how every map has different levels, and some of those levels you can't reach without the jetpack. So I think that's going to kind of depend on what the map is.
Yeah.
And then as far as the slide, I think the slide is pretty much a staple now between the dolphin dive and the actual slide from Ghost. So I think they'll keep that, because even like watching Nade's stream, I think it was league matches last night, they were using the slide to bait Red on Freight S&D. He would just slide past the door. So even in regular S&D, it's coming out. It's not just in Blitz when you slide into the portal anymore. And then the dash, I think, will probably be banned too. But it would be really interesting to watch, though, because it would completely change the meta of the game.
Yeah.
Because you could get in and out of gunfights so quickly, and it would give a whole nother meaning to bait and switch. So
that's a good point. I did actually pull up Fearcrad's tweet, and he said you can turn off your exoskeleton suit. By the way, no one seems to have noticed that. So that would be huge if you could actually, because there's a couple of things. Basically, as I was looking at this game, watching videos on it and things like that, everything revolves around this exosuit. So if you take it off, you're losing all of its abilities, all of the different perks that it has. You actually lose a lot. And how could you throw a grenade in this game without your exosuit? Because it's on your arm now. So can you there's no tacticals and no lethals if you take your exosuit off? Are we going that far backwards where you can't use those? This is going to be interesting. I'm kind of interested in seeing how that plays out and what they ban. I know that Puckett said that they want to do the same thing they did with Ghost, which was comical, but they used everything that was available when they first played Ghost, and it made the game actually look even worse because they were using the squad mate, and I think there was a famous clip where a squad mate won a search and destroy because even though there was no human players alive, he killed the last man alive before they could defuse the bomb. That's how's that even possible?
And everybody was using the MSBS.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. The MSB. Oh man. I mean, think about the name of that gun. It speaks for itself. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm interested in seeing how they deal with. So right out the bat, as we're talking about what this game has, I'm going to ask you guys some random questions. My first one is, what pro player do you think is going to be the best at Call of Duty Advanced Warfare out of the gate? And I'm going to start with Rage.
Swanee.
Okay.
Who's that? I'm kidding.
Epsilon
I know
Swanee.
who he is. I'm kidding.
You know, I'm representing the EU right now.
I will
Swanee.
say I am rather impressed with the Epsilon scuff controller is amazingly beautiful. Like the blue with the white bottom and then the white buttons on it and the white D-pad, the white analog sticks. I was like, if I got one just based on looks, that's the one I would get. It was pretty nice looking. I don't know about Swanee and his ability to outgun everybody else in COD Advanced Warfare, but hey, rep the EU. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
This is a really hard question because everybody's just used to, the regular Call of Duty. I think actually, in general, the Halo pros that came over to COD are going to have a little bit of advantage because they're used to some of these things already. So, like a Formal, a Snipe Down, an Enable, they might have a leg up. So I would say probably one of them.
So, did you mention Crim6 or you're not mentioning?
Oh yeah, Crim. Well, I said Halo pros.
Oh, man.
I love Crimbot. Don't shoot me.
Ruthless.
He's coming to get you.
Crim would be. I mean, Crim was, semi. I don't know what his highest placing was in Halo, but even him.
It wasn't very high from what I can remember. Gandhi telling
12th or 10th or something like that.
Yeah, I know it wasn't top tier,
but I think So anyway, let's move off of Crim6.
You're coming kill us all.
I'm gonna say Formal. I just he's finally getting Call of Duty down. Like he's getting it. I mean, he was the best Slayer at the last event in the EU, by the way. Rage, just wanted to confirm that. But I think that he's finally getting the game down, and with this next iteration of the game, it's going to lend itself, like you said, Crush, to people who've played with this type of jumping, larger suits. Running is a little bit of a different animation where you're not just kind of dipping around the map like you could. Although there is a perk, one of the EXO abilities that allows you to do that, like run faster, where you kind of feel like you're running faster. And so that may help, but I'm going to say Formal is mine. So the EXO abilities, and this guy Dominic just said in the chat, Dominic Kidd, he said they're making this franchise too complicated. Do they know the best CODs were COD 4 and World at War? And I slightly agree. I mean, I was watching Nade Shots, all of his videos he put up and his interview and everything he said today. And I slightly agree because it's so complicated. And when you add too much to a game, people will just leave some of it alone. It's like, what was the thing they came out with on Ghost Squads or something like that? Like, has anybody ever played Squads? Like, does that even still exist on the game? Like where you can?
I played it one time near the beginning just to see what it was like. It kind of reminded me of what was it called in Modern Warfare 3, the multiplayer.
I know what you're talking about. Where you play against the waves of enemies.
Yeah, it was similar to that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you would play, like, I played the one on Modern Warfare 3, to be honest, with, like, I would have a friend. We would get online together and see how many rounds we could go. We'd go to 30 or 40 or whatever, but because it got harder and harder and harder with the juggernauts and everybody dropping on the map. But I never played squads. I mean, I rarely played ghosts, but I don't think I never even had an interest in it. It's like, build your squad, and that was a huge promotion for the game, was this squad thing, and it just kind of fell by the wayside. And I think they may be adding so much to the game that it's going to be so different than anything we've seen before. But Ghost has proven that the Call of Duty franchise will survive even if the game is bad. So looking at the EXO abilities, there are a lot of them. And I'm not going to go into detail on every single one, but if you guys have a question, because of the question I'm going to ask you, if you guys have a question on them, I did take notes on all of the EXO abilities because there's way too many of them. So you have EXO Shield, which is like a little riot shield or something that comes out. And you can only choose one of these, even with the wild card. So you have EXO Shield, EXO Cloak, which is a cloaking and lasts only like 10 to 15 seconds. And you can still see the outline of the person. EXO Stim, and that one shows EXO movement. It shows the movement of other people that are using the EXO suit. So the big deal about that to me is kind of scary. What's up?
No, that's EXO Ping that you're thinking of.
What's EXO Stim do?
Temporary health regeneration beyond normal levels.
Oh, so I
screenshotted it.
no, I mixed that up totally. So temporary What did you say? Energy.
Temporary health regeneration beyond normal levels.
Oh yeah. So Chaos Silencer was saying that this one is scary because when Hardpoint comes around, you're trying to break a hardpoint. Being able to give yourself more energy and quicker regeneration would help to break a hardpoint. So Exo Stim, Exo Trophy, which is like a trophy system, you have an ability to, kind of deflect any grenades or tacticals thrown at you. Exo Ping, so that one is where you get to read someone's exo movement. Now, what is kind of weird about this is if you launch grenades and tacticals from your arm, does exo ping show those launches? Because technically it's supposed to show when your exosuit fires a projectile or when the ability is used, like dodge or jump or anything like that. Now, the reason that's scary is because you don't know when someone throws a grenade. You don't see them show up on the minimap. When someone chucks a grenade or a tactical in the air, you may see where it lands. When the grenade explodes, one of your teammates can call it out. You can see where it came from, but you don't see when it leaves their hand. So if somebody's shooting a projectile and now you have a perk that shows you where they're shooting it from, it helps immensely with callouts and kind of lowers the skill gap a little bit because nowadays you have to see a nade come through kitchen and say it came from basketball courts or it came from Tiki or it came from, top open stairs or something like that, on raids. And so that's how much I don't play Ghost. I don't even know their callouts. So I'm just going back to Black Ops 2. So you got Exo Ping, which is very scary for me. I don't know how that's going to work. Then Exo Hover, which allows you to stay in the air for a little bit so you can take somebody out. And then lastly is Exo Overclock. And what was that one? That's the foot speed, right?
Yeah, increased foot speed, yeah.
Increased foot speed. So here's what I want you guys to do. And you can do this in the chat as well. You guys can participate. Here's what I want you guys to do. Crush and Rage. I want you to tell me out of those 7 that I just named, Shield, Cloak, Stim, which is the increased health regeneration, Exo Trophy, Ping, Hover, and Overclock, which is foot speed. If we were looking at Optic Gaming, so we have those 4 players, what would each of them run? And we'll go one by one. But if we're looking at Scumpy, Nade, Clayster, and Proofy, what would they run? Because this is where the meta gets interesting because there's 3 things you just don't get to have unless they ban them. And then you guys can let me know what you think they might ban. So I'll start with Proofy. Crush, which of these 7 do you think Proofy will run for Optic Gaming?
Okay, quick question. What game type?
Hardpoint.
Hardpoint. Proofy. Well, since Clay, if the anchor becomes a factor again, I would say Proofy would probably do the Exo Stim.
Because you think he'd be breaking hard points?
Him and Scump, yeah.
You think both of them would rock that?
Well,
because if you have 2 people rocking that same thing,
yes,
you're literally limiting your team to like 3 of these exo abilities instead of. I mean, and this is where the meta gets ridiculous with this game is how do you pick between all of this? So go ahead, Rage. Proofy, what do you think he would rock?
Stim. I've already done the planning. I reckon, obviously, the meta is going to be for breaking hard points. 2 people with Stim, and then 1 person with trophy systems. Because from what we've seen from the trailer, the trophy system acts as a shield.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you put the trophy system, it will protect the people with a Stim. Surely.
What is the 4th rock? What is like the anchor rock?
So obviously, I would probably say an overclock. So obviously, they can run around and rotate to the hard point quicker if we're playing for the hard point objective. So I'd say obviously overclock.
Overclock or the Exo Ping. So they could see people who are pushing them, pushing the anchor spot. But then again, the anchor play is all going to depend on whether or not they ban the like the double jump and everything like that.
So
who knows?
Yeah, I would see Proofy would. I think he would rock Stim as well. It depends on if the roaming Slayer becomes another like the role that Karma played better than anyone. Like if the roaming Slayer role comes into play and someone can really just run around the map and do what they want, I think that would be Scump, and he wouldn't have Stim. But I would see Proofy rocking Stim because I would think that person, that roaming Slayer, maybe give him Cloak or give him Ping, or I mean, they don't really need overclock, but I think if they're running around and they're gonna flank, they can put cloak on and kind of sneak behind and take out the anchor for the other team. I mean, there's different because you don't just break the hard point in hardpoint, you break the anchor. You know, people use and score streaks at this point. We're probably gonna see him in the game, so people I'm guessing will use score streaks to break the anchor, take the anchor off of there if there is an anchor. I think it was Nate Shot that made a good point and said if someone's in the hard point. And instead of just sitting in basketball court, and yes, I'm using Black Ops 2 because they had hard point. If somebody's sitting in basketball court watching Tiki or Kitchen Window, and now they can shoot up into the air and they can see the apartment and they can see back kitchen to see if anybody's coming from laundry. So it changes the whole game when someone can use these type of abilities if they're not banned, you know. And so it changes the meta. I agree with you guys, and that's pretty. I mean, with Proofy and Scump, those are going to be the roles. So what do you think the person that's in the hard point, what would you see them rocking as far as an EXO ability?
If it doesn't get banned, I would say either EXO Shield or even Trophy System.
Everybody call Hitch a detriment. Type it in the chat.
Oh, man, he's only 45 minutes. Oh, he's an hour late.
This dude. We might as well. Gosh. Go ahead and fix it while we're talking, goalie, or do we need to do a commercial break with no? Well, we don't have a commercial break, so it doesn't matter. Oh, wait, you want to use a commercial break? You want to go to music? Okay, we'll go ahead and talk. Oh, I'll get him in the call, though. Oh, this dude, man, he's going to get look at his face. He's going to get abused. Hitch, what is wrong with you?
Dude, I can't see my face. Where am I?
God.
What is my face?
Goalie's going to put you in there. I can't believe you slept. I cannot.
Dude, I'm so sorry, man.
Gosh, Team Gamma, what happened?
Clearly, he missed the gamma.
Yeah. He did not take his G before he took his nap. All right, so we're just going to continue, and you'll have to kind of jump in. We talked about the exosuit. We talked about what player we think would be the best at this game out of the gate, and we just went over the EXO abilities, and we were on the point of discussing what the person in the hardpoint itself, playing hardpoint, would use. And Crush, what did you say?
I said probably EXO, the EXO trophy, or even the EXO shield if it's not banned. And I'd say they could probably even rock the EXO stem as well. Because, I mean, if you're having people charge you with EXO stem, you can counter it with the same thing, and it basically give you the same abilities.
So are you guys settling on the fact that 2 to 3 players on a team will be running stem?
Yeah.
In hardpoint. Hardpoint.
Anytime something happens like that, they ban it. Like when everybody's using something, and I've already seen this shotgun that people are saying from day one they need to lower the power. Like, it's just too OP, the shotgun that's in this game. And so I think if every single person uses stem, I think Call of Duty and Activision are against creating another Black Ops 1 where the same weapon is shown in every single screenshot, FAMAS.
Everybody uses FAMAS, yeah.
Oh my gosh, an AK-74U, and it was kind of funny because even in Black Ops 2, you had the MSMC and the M8A1, and then randomly Rambo would pull out the MP7, and you'd be like, what?
Oh my god.
And it changed the game. It's like, oh, Rambo's using the MP7, and so I know that Activision, what they want is for as much of what's in the pub game to be in the competitive game. Why is that so funny? Was that making fun of him?
No, goalie put a picture of a bed.
Yeah, look at the stream.
Oh, that's the best. Goalie, you win.
Why am I great?
That's my idea.
Goalie, you win. Whoever's idea that was, that's awesome.
You're the real MVP.
He's the real MVP. But I mean, a lot of this stuff is probably going to be banned right off the gate, just because it's already banned in the normal Call of Duties now. Like they don't have riot shields. I don't think they've ever really been used in competitive. The cloak's probably going to go. The ping's definitely going to go. That's going to be the first thing they say. You shouldn't be able to see enemies through walls. So I think the trophy system will stay though. That's that and STEM
Okay.
and possibly overclock.
So then basically we're looking. I mean, I could see like Killa. I could see him using if you could combine these, that would be amazing. Like if the wild card let you get 2 EXO abilities, if you could put STEM and overclock together, that would be Killa's class. Like just run and run and run with superpower and go bananas shooting projectiles off of his arm. It would be great.
Would you be able to use both at the same time?
You can't. And when I looked at the breakdown of the pick 13 system, it looked like the wild card could be used for your primary, or you could get 3 attachments. Your secondary, you could up that, I believe, to 2 attachments. It could be used to where you could get 2 perks in one of the 3 perk slots. So you could technically on this game run around with 4 perks. And then you could, I don't think you could, oh yeah, and you could use it for score streaks to where you could have 4 score streaks. So the meta on this game is going to be ridiculous. But it didn't look like you could get 2 EXO abilities. It didn't have space on there to put that. And so I think you're only going to be able to rock 1 EXO ability. And Cloak, according to what I saw on the ESR today, you're only going to be able to use Cloak like once per life or something like that. You know, like the boost, dodge, jump, and slide, I believe you can use all the time if those aren't banned. But the EXO abilities, like your shield, you can't pull your shield out and run to the next hard point and pull your shield out again. Or pull your trophy. It's like a trophy system. So you pull your trophy out, you don't get to run to the next hard point and pull out another trophy.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, so that kind of limits. You have to then think about how and when do I use this, you know. But then you could switch classes because score streaks are class specific. So you could switch classes to break a hard point and then switch classes to maintain a hard point. And depending on what the hard point is, I imagine that it's going to take the pros longer than it's ever taken to build classes as a team and figure out who's going to run what. And the meta is going to switch every few weeks for probably a couple months. You know, once they see, oh, well, Fizzerp is running, you know, 2 arm projectiles and the exo shield, and you know people are just going to be changing things up. So
Fizzer's running dual LMGs. Did you see that you can do that?
Yeah, they'll ban that. They'll ban that. That's not even questionable. That's like an auto ban. Like,
well, apparently it's terrible anyway. Like,
yeah, the best thing on this game so far is that shotgun. Like that seems to be the most OP weapon. And yes, we will have the dead silence conversation in a moment, so Hitch can rage about dead silence. All the arguments he was getting in with pros on Twitter. All right, so there are on the EXO launcher, which is now every projectile in this game is not thrown. It's launched from your wrist. And again, my concern with that is if EXO ping is allowed, you'll know where someone is based on them launching something off their arm, which doesn't seem legit. Like, if I throw a nade, like nade spots will become insignificant because if I throw a nade from raid and I'm throwing it to, open stairs, I don't necessarily want the other team to know that I'm at the statue, but I may want to hit them off of rotation because I'm rotating the kitchen or something like that, and I know they're spawning at water. So it's kind of like it concerns me that you're going to be known where you're at if someone has EXO ping, and I would think every team would have to run EXO ping if it's allowed in this game. So there's 10 different types of grenades. I'm not going to go over all of them, but there are 10 of them. In your guys' personal opinion, do you think EXO ping, the one that I've been talking about, should be banned because it reveals that launching? And then the second question, well, let me go ahead and answer that real quick. The second question doesn't have any. Yes? Ban it?
Yeah, it should be banned.
Crush?
Maybe. Well, it depends. I mean, if you're saying, I mean, it depends on. Did they say how long it lasts? Because if it's a one-time use and it only lasts like 10 or 15 seconds, is it like a one-time use thing, or is it a constant thing? So if it's a one-time use thing, I mean, it probably wouldn't be as bad as everybody's thinking. But if it's a constant thing, like in Titanfall, it would be.
Yeah, I'll be there in a second. Sorry, my kids were calling me. All right, so what pro team do you guys think will be the most successful on this game out of the gate? Like what are their abilities that lean to its success? I'm going to start with Hitch, and then we'll go Rage and then Crush, and I will be right back.
Okay. I think Dude, I don't know, man. I'm still sleeping. Somebody else do it.
Get that G Fuel.
Come on, Team Gamer.
Yeah.
I would, but it's too far away. Shout
All
out
right,
to
Rage,
G
you
Fuel.
wanna go, Rage? Since we don't have a
Well,
director.
Yeah, I'll just kill some time for a bit. So, obviously, from an EU background, I'm obviously going to have to pick an EU team. So I'm going to say, obviously, the French team Vitality. Well, that's because, obviously, they've been around together for a while. So, obviously, the chemistry and teamwork's already there, so it's a foundation. So it's just, obviously, learning the meta of the game, where you got all these new teams forming around the AW. So you're going to have new teams trying to build the chemistry. Well, when you've got like Vitality, obviously they've got the chemistry there. They're all going to stick together. They're all like get on well with each other. So I can see them sticking and doing extremely well because they've been underperforming, to be honest, from Ghost.
Because Gataga is a monster. I love
He
him.
is, but make sure you don't mispronounce his name at EGL because you will get deference from French people.
Oh, what they
Just
call him?
saying. Yeah. What's your prediction? Dodge the question. What's your prediction?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be one of those teams like that I kind of talked about earlier that have the Halo pros already on. So it'd be maybe EG or even Envy that's got formal on it. Because like I said, those teams already have experience. Those players already have experience with games that have that kind of feel to it. So and then again, you never really know. They could ban everything and Optic could be the best. So I'm gonna go with Optic. #Greenwall.
That's true. Obviously, now I'm going to have to go for an American team because otherwise the chat are going to kill me. I'm going to have to say if EG stick together, obviously you've got the Yakes and the TP duo, and obviously the teamwork's there as well. So I reckon those two running the objective, bouncing off all these like Exoskeleton abilities. I reckon that those two will do pretty well as well. So obviously EG, if they do stick, or if they go for another name, I imagine they'll do well as well.
Yep. All right, Hitch, welcome back. It's your turn.
Hi. So I don't know. I always feel weird trying to pull teams or talk about things that haven't really been released yet. But right now, I think that any team that is good at adapting to situations, any team that is good with submachine guns, is going to be good. And because apparently that's what I've heard is that it's just a sub-heavy game. So right now, the team that I don't know if they're going to be like the best team, but the team that's going to like hop into it with the most ease is probably Optic Nation. They got 3 subs and Ricky, and they obviously have like Killa, who's the best S&D player in the world.
Yep.
And so like who else?
Yeah.
I feel like that's the team that I think is just going to hop into it with ease.
All right, I'm back. What did you guys? Who went so far and said what team they think?
I think we've all been. I said Vitality for the EU and then EG for America.
Yeah, I said one of the teams that has one of the Halo people in it, so like a EG or an Envy.
What did you say, Hitch?
I said Optic Nation, just because I've heard that it's a sub-heavy game.
I'm actually going to go with Optic Nation as well. Actually, when I was writing this question, I thought about it, and I honestly believe that when you go back to anything similar to Black Ops 2, I think Killa is going to be leaps and bounds ahead of other players. What people don't realize about Killa is how smart he actually is, and how much he learns from grinding the game and playing against and with other players. And he doesn't shine in the same way that some of these other players do on the STiKS, but he does the intangibles to help his team win. What?
Big Snacks is in. Talking about you being a fanboy again.
Oh, what up, Snacks?
#Justice Pro.
I honestly think Justice Pro is going to be the best game on this. They're going to be the best on this game. I think they're going to start an EU team, and their EU team, Justice UK, is going to be the best as well. Does that sound better, Snacks? Is that he calls me a fanboy. Why does he always come in when I start talking about Optic?
Because you're always talking about
Optic.
You guys won't be welcome back. All right. So.
Yeah, this is my first and last time.
Killa is dumb as rocks. It's not true, Ambrosian. Killa has won multiple events. All right, so there are some rumors kind of floating around that 5v5 is going to be possible in this game because of the size of these maps. I don't know if you guys noticed, but these maps, I heard people say things like they're 3 lanes of traffic and all this kind of stuff. They're perfect for competitive, but they're huge. And with the verticality of, you have to make maps like 3 stories high when someone can boost up into the air. Like, can you imagine playing Slums and you're at, and let's say you're at Double D's or you're at the Blue Dumpster, and you can shoot up in the air and see where the enemy is, where the anchor's at. I mean, can you imagine that ability? Like, the levels have to be stacked up. And one of my favorite things about Black Ops 2 competitive maps is that they actually weren't that, there wasn't that much verticality. And even in a map like Standoff, there was 4 separate places where you could go to a second story, and it almost made the map equal because of that. There was 4 spots on the map, different houses, Grandma's and Market and Green and Brown, where you could go up to a second story. And so I was watching these maps, and I was watching T-Mart showed some Hardpoint gameplay, and I was watching that, and it was slower paced than the Hardpoint that we're used to. And I think having 4 players only is part of that. Do you guys think that's going to have a negative? Like, just imagine if every team had to pick up a 5th player. Some teams would just go away. Do you guys think that has a negative impact on the future competitive Call of Duty? Or is it something you would like to see? Because think about the meta we've been talking about, and now you add a 5th player that could have a 5th EXO ability and a 5th rocket launcher on his arm or whatever. Does that change the game for the better or the worse in competitive Call of Duty in general? And I'll start with Crush.
I think it would make the metagame more interesting to watch. But like you said, a lot of teams would just disappear because the first, you already know, we talked about this before, that if somebody says,
sorry, yeah. Fatty's in the chat.
Yeah, I saw him. He said his teeth are clean, but,
go ahead.
You already know that if somebody like an Optic, the first person in Optic says, "Hey, we want you to join us," they're gone. Later. Optic formal, Optic, maybe EG might not. Somebody on EG might not go. But as far as whether it'll change, this is what Australia did before they went to the current, set up the 4v4. They did 5v5 S&D, and I really don't know how well the scene did when they were like that. But it would make it interesting. But I don't know if it would be a good or a bad thing, really.
Hitch, what are your thoughts?
5v5 would only work in S&D, like the EU scene did it, or the Australia scene did it for a little while. Like it wouldn't work in a spawning game or respawn game type, just because it's way too hectic. It's already hectic. Respawn game types are already hectic with 4 people, so I don't think 5v5 will ever happen.
I disagree. Honestly, I reckon obviously 5v5, if the people have been saying the maps are big, then obviously 5v5 is going to make it a little bit more interesting, seeing all these new players come through who obviously we're not used to seeing. Because I enjoy watching new people who no one's ever seen before come up through the ranks, and obviously that's going to give people some more opportunity. And then obviously it make it a little bit more fast-paced, a little bit more interesting to watch from a spectator point of view. There's always some action going to be on when there's 5 players rather than 4. So obviously that's my opinions on that.
Yeah, they talked about 5v5 in Ghost Smiting Fatty. They also talked about it being competitive and great and good and playable.
I did want to point out one thing somebody said in the chat was funding. The organization's having to fund.
That's what I said to Snacks, because Snacks was like, "That would suck," and I was like, "Hey, you don't want to pay somebody else to fly to events." That would suck. Funding wise, that's bad. And regardless of what I agree with what you're saying, Rage. Like, give other people a spot, but it wouldn't. The reality is that some teams would die, and some teams would get bigger. Same thing we saw with Optic Nation being invented, is that some teams just took a backseat to existence, and they have to like build from. I mean, I'll say this, and I know Snacks you're watching, but I was really excited about the potential of Justice Pro before Optic Nation was created and took some players away. I was excited to see a team that wasn't Optic or Envy or Complexity or one of these known teams that we've seen around forever. I was excited to see a team that could compete at that level, but that wasn't wearing green or blue or orange or red for FaZe. I was actually pretty pumped about that. And so I think that what would happen is if we went to 5v5, Optic would say, we want this guy, and that guy would say yes. And Optic would say, so then Optic now has 10 players, Envious picks up another one. And so between Envy and Optic, you're looking at 15 players between those two mega houses of Call of Duty. Then you add 5 more for EG, and between 3 teams, there's 20 players. And pros would go to these teams. They would leave where they're at and they would go. And it's really unfortunate for the smaller teams that are trying to get some time on the screen and trying to get some recognition. And so I think 4v4 is where we should stick if we can. I think it would have, the engagements would be better. Hardpoint may be more exciting, but I'm sure they'll add some stuff to the game that'll make it interesting. So that's just my opinion. I'm sticking to it. I don't know exactly how everything's going to work out and how these players are, if they're going to stay on these teams, because people are going to start guessing like what players are going to be good and they're going to line themselves up. That's what they do at the beginning of any game. We'll see roster mania. My channel will grow a little bit, whatever happens.
Just make sure you get an optic from now.
Yes, correct. So Hardpoint and CTF are back. Hardpoint did look really good. I just don't know, and you guys just kind of can answer this, and Hitch, because you weren't a part of the earlier discussion. Do you think the EXO abilities will ruin Hardpoint? They'll change the game too much where it's not the Hardpoint that we know and love? Is it going to be too different where it actually is going to play slower than what we're used to?
Which EXO abilities have we never seen in a Call of Duty before?
Well, in competitive?
Yeah, a lot of
them. The cloak, the stim thing. We've never seen that where they regenerate their health faster. We have seen trophy. We've never seen ping. We've never seen hover. And overclock, I guess, is what the best description I've heard of it. And it was from Chaos Silencer on ESR today. He said it's like having the death streak. What was it called where you can run fast after you died? Like
juiced.
Juiced. Yeah, it's like having juiced. And so we've never seen those 4 perks or those 4 abilities. Do you think that they will actually make Hardpoint not as playable? Or because I think we're all just thinking Hardpoint's Hardpoint. You just throw on Hardpoint, doesn't matter what the game is, it's going to be great. But if you put Hardpoint on Ghost, I mean, would it be exciting to watch? Probably not. I mean, I don't know. So that's my question: is just do the EXO abilities, are they going to ruin Hardpoint, or is it actually going to enhance it? In your opinion?
I don't know. I feel like maybe we're probably just going to all go stem. Or maybe not. I don't know. Honestly, can you ban exoskeletons? I mean, I know I don't want to be
Fearcrad said you can turn it off, but here's the deal. If you turn off the exo suit, then how do you throw grenades? So I don't think you can just turn it off. You have to ban stuff. Like, if you turn it off, you can't throw grenades with tacticals. Like, it eliminates that as an option because they're all on your arm now. So I don't think we can actually turn that off for competitive unless we're just going to go to a plain all guns type of game where you can shoot and you can boost into the air and that's it. I don't know. So it's gonna be. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't know. Keep going.
All right.
I literally have no idea what to think.
Any of either Crush or Rage, you guys have an opinion on that? Is it going to affect Hardpoint negatively or positively, the EXO abilities?
Do you want to go first?
That's fine. Depending on which ones they are, nope. I think it make it more interesting.
Yeah. Make
the strategies to keep maintain and to break hard points more interesting. So just, oh, hey, you have a Hellstorm missile? Oh no, we're all rushing with shotguns. Okay. Gotta love the church.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if you see a team calling, for example, a Hellstorm in Black Ops 2, it takes you out of the game for 5 seconds or so when you call it in. So you might see a team's exploiting that and maybe using the overclock to rush into the hardpoint when they're calling in the streaks. Then obviously you can always use the cloak if it's not banned. It depends how strong it is, because obviously if it's a Halo cloak, where to be honest, it's not very good. or it could be quite useful in when you're contesting a hard point. So you might want to cloak and then run around the hard point and then basically just wait for your team to spawn up. So that could be good for obviously like stopping points from getting on the board. I'm sure it'll make for an entertaining watch as well. Then obviously the trophy system, I reckon that'll be very good for defending hard points and maybe even pushing hard points if it's like we've seen in the video, where obviously it surrounds someone and you see people to the left and right pushing with you. Then obviously that'd be quite interesting to see if that helps maybe breaking and defending hard points.
Yeah, and I agree with Milky Ways in the chat. He said that he thinks it'll change that the skill gap would increase. And yeah, you have to. I believe that the mini map is going to be one of the most important things in this game. Like from what I've seen and the abilities, like there's a perk that actually extends the mini map and makes it bigger. I don't know if that'll be banned in competitive, but there's a perk where you can actually it just literally increases its size temporarily, and so I think that the skill gap is going to get a lot wider, but I also think that some players that we've never seen be really good and that have never been in the top 10 or top 20 for competitive play are going to step up. And guys that have just been kind of sitting around, couldn't win their gunfights, but they're going to know how to use the EXO abilities in the suit better than some top teams. And so it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
That's not the skill gap, though. That's adapting. Like, the skill gap is like, can you outgun someone? Can you outthink someone in like a certain situation? But like you're throwing on different abilities to counter other abilities. That's just kind of like, maybe it is a skill gap, but it's not like how I see the skill gap.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Well, I consider it part of the skill gap because it's now going to become you can't just be good at winning gunfights. Like you can't just be good at controlling that gun engagement from, well, I pre-aim the corner, or I'm better with my jump shot or my scuff, or whatever. It's actually now going to be, well, I know when to use my boost dodge better than anybody else, and so there's gonna take some skill in learning when and where. Like you let somebody get you weak, and then maybe you boost dodge over, and then when they boost dodge over, you kill them because now you're pre-firing and you're expecting them to do it. And there's gonna be a whole bunch. The gunfights are gonna be weird in general. They're just going to be different than we've ever seen before. When you see someone in a gunfight and you're like, oh, this is the last kill in Search and Destroy, and they shoot up in the air, and you're like, oh, what just happened? Like, that's
bye.
I mean, imagine if someone is defusing, they're doing a fake defuse, and then they boost up in the air and kill you because you pop out to kill them when they're defusing the bomb. I mean, there's just, and they pull out their sniper with, there's just a whole bunch of different things that'll happen. And then CTF, pros and the pub stars are saying a lot of good things about Uplink, and somebody in the chat just said they said it's kind of like Quidditch in Harry Potter.
Yes. No, that's Uplink, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's the one where obviously you throw the ball.
Yeah, you throw the ball. You have to get close to and if you jump in the point, you get even more.
Yeah.
If you throw the ball in there, you get a certain amount of points, and so that looked interesting. Do you guys think that it could possibly replace CTF, even though CTF is back? And before you answer, Nade and he's played the game. He was making some comments that something that Blitz, even though people hated it, at the beginning of this game, they were like, there's no way we're playing this competitive. It's not going to happen. It's stupid. There's no control. You can just cap points over and over and over. Once they learned how to spawn trap and they learned how to get map control and all that kind of stuff, now that game has actually created some moments that CTF can't create. When someone slides into the hard point or jumps into the hard point or dies right before, or not the hard point, the blitz cap or whatever, or jumps in or dives into it right before the time runs out or something like that, or they die and then they save the game, or these games we see where people go it's like 23-25. I mean, people are just capping like crazy, going OE the whole match. Do you guys think that Uplink, from what you've seen, can possibly... CTF on this game is going to be different than we've ever seen CTF. Running is going to be different when you can jump in the air and boost around corners and all that kind of stuff. And so does that get eliminated? And does Uplink have a chance at being a competitive game type?
Who's that?
Rage.
Okay. Yes. Obviously, it's still early days. We've only seen, I should say, a 30-second odd clip, and then we've still seen just people's opinions. But personally, from what I've seen so far, it might be a best of 5 with 5 different game modes.
It can.
I'm seeing, obviously, you've got capture the flag, Hardpoint, Momentum. What's the war game mode?
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we've got Uplink, and then S&D. That's what
So
I'm personally thinking.
Nate Shot made a good point when he was talking about this. Is that, or not Nate? I think it was maybe Puckett. Is that then teams won't won't need to perfect 5 different game types. They'll just perfect 3 or 4 of them, and then they can always win as long as they can win those game types. You know, and so if search is last, no one will ever practice search. They won't even learn strategies for it because you can win a best of 5 without ever playing. You know what I'm saying?
That's a valid point, but again, it might be interesting to see whether in the current rule set, obviously it goes domination, search, blitz. I forgot the name of it, and then obviously it's a fixed rotation, but it might be interesting.
Domination, search, blitz, domination, search.
Yeah, so obviously that's the best of 5, but best of 3 it's domination. Yeah, so it's a fixed rotation. So what I'm thinking is obviously if it mixes up so it's not set, then that should obviously keep it fresh, if that makes sense. So for one stage, search and destroy might be last. Then the next round it might be second. At least then that way it mixes it up, and it would make it interesting. I'm just trying to think about the viewer experience.
Yeah.
I would say that I could see it being a best of 5, and if they would implement it as part of the veto system.
Yeah, that's
like
a good
so
point.
when each team can veto maybe one game type or something. I don't know. That's what I was kind of thinking of.
Wow.
Yeah, I gotta agree with what I heard on the Esports Report when I was watching yesterday, and some of the videos I've seen online. Is just, I think if you eliminate 2 searches, you really change competitive Call of Duty drastically. I think it's what saved Call of Duty Ghosts, and I'm kind of looking forward to it coming back. I hope it does. I think Search and Destroy is going to be really ridiculously interesting on this game with the kind of abilities that you have. And I think you got to keep it. I think you got to keep Search in. Now, we might as well have the Dead Silence competitions or conversation since I'm talking about Search. Dead Silence was not a perk listed on this game. In the perk list, there was no Dead Silence. So, and I'm going to let Hitch start and say what he has
I'll
to
be back
say.
in about 10 minutes.
Okay. Nate Shot actually put up a video today specifically addressing this after he went off on Twitter about it, saying Dead Silence has to be in the game. Like, has to, or it ruins Search and Destroy. Nobody wants to move. People camp in corners, or they camp in the air, hovering. But with that, I mean, but think about it. Without Dead Silence, you could technically boost, jump, and hover, and get across the map. People would hear you when you landed, but you know.
Wait, you can't hover, can you? You can hover?
Hover is one of the EXO abilities. EXO hover.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know.
You can't hover for very long, but you can hover for a few seconds, like in the air, and shoot from up there and get kills. And so, and one of the perks, we haven't talked about it, but we'll get there, because there's one of the perks that's kind of awkward that they listed, but they'll probably ban it immediately. So what is your opinion, Hitch, on this whole Dead Silence discussion, and do you think it's something that Sledgehammer should try to get into the game? Is it really gonna ruin Search? Go ahead and shoot.
Can you hear it? It's like storming in my house. Can you all hear that? I don't know if you can. Oh, okay. So am I lagging? Are y'all good?
No, we're good.
Okay. Good. All right, sorry. So I think that basically what I was saying on Twitter is just that it's not a necessity. Like Dead Silence is not the end all be all of competitive Call of Duty, and we saw it time and time again at Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2, no one ran Dead Silence in respawn game types, and then a bunch of pros have been tweeting today and said they didn't even run Dead Silence when they were playing Search, just because it wasn't like really loud footsteps. And if anything, like what I'm all about is if they cut back, like if they nerf the footsteps a little bit. Apparently you can hear the footsteps really loud, like in Modern Warfare 2. But if they cut that back, then I feel like there's no reason to say, you can't play without it. It's always been frustrating to me having to use a perk. It's not as frustrating in Ghost because it's just ready up, and it's just like, well, I use ready up in all my classes, so I don't think, or it's focus. That's what it is, focus. So it's like, I don't know, like there's always that one perk that you just have to use, and it's kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
And Dead Silence has always been that perk, And if you just take it out, then people are going to have to adapt to it. And the only thing I was getting really upset about is that people were just like disregarding the fact that you can't play without it. And you can, like, I promise you can play without it. Especially in search, like the whole style of gameplay in search would be like you have to fight for map control. People are saying you're going to crouch around or whatever, just so it's going to be like really like a stalemate. But if you only have a minute and a half to get the bomb down, and form a strategy around that, then there's not going to be that much time to camp. It's not going to be a boring game type just because like you're forced to play fast.
Well, I agree with one of the things you said, Hitch, on Twitter. I was trying to read over all your tweets when you were tweeting earlier, and you said something about you have to. What did you say? You said people will have to run, their breaks will have to be really efficient so that they can get map control like right away. Because if you're on offense and you don't move, you're dead. Like defense will get map control and just wait for you to get to the bomb and you'll just die because they'll be able to hear you. With in the Astro generation and Turtle Beach and everything, these headsets that can hear everything in that generation, and people without headsets, you're just at a disadvantage when you play pubs like that. But the breaks are going to have to be different if Dead Silence doesn't come into this game. Crush or Rage, do you guys have an opinion on the Dead Silence debate?
I'll go first. To be honest, I reckon it needs to be in the game because, as we've already touched upon, you already mentioned about the fact that with the Astro generation, we've got headset companies such as Astro, such as Turtle Beach, and so on and so forth, even Triton. They've got these top quality headsets, and you're going to be able to hear, all the pro players have Astros nowadays, so obviously they're going to be able to hear footsteps. And personally, I agree with what Nadeshot said. I haven't seen the video, but from what you've described it sounds like he's basically hit the main points of people are just going to be sitting, playing the game slow, and it's not going to be interesting, and it's just going to kill the fast-pacedness of Search and Destroy.
Yeah, and I guess the question is, like, do they have Dead Silence in the thing you play, Hitch, the Pro Sim or whatever?
Yeah, I guess I could talk about that. We don't, obviously it's nothing big, we're just messing around, but we do play Search and Destroy on COD 4 with no Dead Silence. We play 5v5, so it's a little different. But like I said, the whole thing about it is it's all about your breakout. So that the sub players have to get up as far into the map as possible. And then in the first 30 seconds, there's always gunfights because the two players that are trying to push up to gain map control are fighting each other. And then AR is just sitting in the back. And it's really like lane based. Like you can, like somebody sits in the back and you cover the people that are rushing up front, and then the middle ARs are also playing for picks and working off the subs. It's like, I don't know. It's like I think it's like the perfect game type, and Counter-Strike does it as well. And I know people say you can't really compare Counter-Strike to COD, but that's just because I think you can. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. That doesn't make sense to me, because Counter-Strike is like a variation of S&D, or our S&D is a variation of Counter-Strike. And so I was going to say something else too. Oh, basically, the only reason I was getting kind of upset on Twitter is just because people are just like, never mind. Just never mind. I don't even want to get into it, dude. Never mind. But I'm just saying, I think it could work.
Well, we'll see, because they may have no choice. I mean, Nadeshot is such a strong voice that Sledgehammer may consider changing it, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the pros, the feedback they give after this LAN or whatever they're doing in Germany, that everybody's just playing now. And I know Nadeshot and Big Time and those guys played like weeks ago or whatever, but we'll see exactly the feedback they get and how they respond to it. The chat's not updating for me, so if I miss something you guys say, it's my bad. I'll read.
I got a quick point to point out. Obviously, on the Ghost map Freight, obviously when that's an S&D play, it's a little bit stale. So you always have the underground option. And if you don't have Dead Silence, obviously the underground option and the strategy involved with the underground option isn't going to be there. So I don't think you're going to be able to see these sneaky plays what you sometimes see play. You don't see the optic, the fabled optic 4-man rush into A. You won't see that anymore because it would instantly get called out and soundheard. So obviously, I just don't think the strategic plays will be there, and it will just be more about killing. And to be honest, Search and Destroy has always been one of those games what's a little bit more about strategy than all the rest. And to be honest, I really don't want to see the strategic element going from it.
Yeah, we can go back and forth with this forever. I think it's gonna be it's up to Sledgehammer. You know, it's not in the game right now. One of the things that Nadeshot said in his videos, he said they obviously have been making this game for 3 years. They know better than he does, and maybe it has something to do with the EXO abilities and how those work and how that's going to eliminate sound, you know, like when you're gliding in the air or dodging around a corner. I mean, who knows how the sound of those things will be. So lastly, we'll talk about the perks, and then I'm going to get your guys' final read on the game. So the last thing, one thing we haven't talked about is the perks. They're very similar to Black Ops 2. They're just, and of course we talked about the fact there's no dead silence, but there's a million of them. So I actually wrote them all down, and I'll stop on any that I want to ask you guys about. So lightweight, low profile, probably be banned immediately. It's kind of like Ghost. Danger Close is back, and it's like Danger Close Pro, like from Modern Warfare 2.
That'll be gone.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's immediate, and
Yeah.
I don't think that's sticking around.
Well, the only thing that would be is how well Flak Jacket counters it.
Well, and there you go.
That's
The
true.
Flak Jacket completely counter danger. But then it's like what Hitch said, are you creating something that people have to have? Like now everybody has to run Flak Jacket, and because someone might be running Danger Close, or do you have a Flak Jacket class just in case?
We tried Danger Close in this game, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Just because it's
Like,
just
everything
too
is
much.
strong in Ghost. Yeah, you could sneeze
No.
on somebody and they'll die.
Well,
Go ahead. What?
sorry. My thought is obviously if we make it so a grenade, I don't agree with it. But going back to the Danger Close, if you put a grenade at half health, so if it hits you, it's half health, and then obviously Danger Close will be full health, and then it will kind of mix up the strategy a little bit, meaning that some players will have Flak Jacket, some players won't have Flak Jacket, and again it will just add a bit more variety rather than the stale sleight of hand, stopping power, dead silence as we've seen from a few previous Modern Warfare titles.
Yeah.
So it's
well,
a little bit more uniqueness and a little bit more strategy involved.
Yes. There's going to be a little more strategy involved in this game in general because of what you can do with the pick 13 and all that kind of stuff. So Flak Jacket overcharged extends your EXO ability. So let's say you can hover for 5 seconds on regular, maybe with overcharge you hover for 10, you know, or let's say you cloak for 5 seconds, maybe with overcharge you cloak for 10. So if they don't ban that, I don't know how you don't run it, you know, like if you have any of the abilities that would be time sensitive, like ping or something like that, you know, I would think you would immediately, or overclock where you run fast. If it's only going to last 10 seconds, why would you not want to have overcharged on so you could run for 15, 20 seconds? So that's going to be an interesting perk to see how that plays out. Cold-blooded, blind eye, peripherals, which I'm thinking they'll ban that. It's where you can see more of the mini-map. Gung-ho. Now this one, you guys let me know if you think they should ban this. We've never seen this in Call of Duty. This is this gung-ho perk where while you're sprinting and sliding, you can shoot at people. So it's like hip firing while running, and when you're in your slide motion, you can shoot while you're sliding.
I think
You can fire while you run?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it
Fire
makes
while
interesting.
sprinting. It says while
But-
sprinting.
They already complain about in Ghost how you can basically sprint and then hit fire with ready up. So I think enough pros would complain that it would get banned.
Yeah. I mean, this is one that Aches will complain about before the game even comes out. What did Smiting Fatty say where people are saying, I think they should have a death stream?
I think it's supposed to be Death Street.
Streak where the exosuit runs on its own for a... He said the exosuit runs for its own during... like you die and the exosuit just runs...
The exosuit just keeps running. Like, fucking along.
That's awesome. All right, so we've all agreed that this gung-ho thing probably is not going to work. And then fast hands, and it's a little bit different than the fast hands that we're used to because it reloads. It's like combining with there's a perk in Ghost and a perk in Black Ops 2 that's combining together. I don't remember exactly which two it is because it's not throwing the projectile faster. They all launch pretty fast off your arm. Toughness, everybody's going to use this. This is, again, one of those perks that is not in the game at the start, but everyone's going to use it. It's reduced flinch when shot. I think it's toughness based on this game and how much I would think recoil is going to be a factor. But in the gameplay, but this is the same thing for Ghost. It looked like there was no recoil in Ghost when you watch the previews, and they changed that because people probably complained about it. When I was watching the gameplay of this game, I didn't see a lot of recoil at all, even when people were getting shot. But people don't show clips of them dying, so you don't really see flinch is really bad. Scavenger, the difference between this Scavenger, it's like Scavenger Pro because you start with an extra magazine. So that might actually be something we see professional players run. You normally don't stay alive long enough in professional play unless you're Karma and you go on a 26 kill streak or whatever he went on when he was on Yemen back in Black Ops 2. But
oh yeah, the first was it like the first Gfinity or something?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Second one, I don't remember. Yeah.
And Benson made one of his most famous lines ever. He's acting like these guys have no hands.
Please do
Wasn't
not
it the same
do an
tournament
English accent again.
Please.
Please, no. Oh, God. I cringed.
He's killed 2 of them at the same moment.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, Benson's turning American now, so...
Rage!
You just need to, put an American accent on.
Jeez.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Benson. Hopefully Benson's not watching the stream.
No, he won't be watching it. He's busy.
Oh, man. All right.
Right, move on quickly.
Yeah, you UK guys need to play nice with each other. So this one is interesting. The blast suppressor, invisible on minimap when using your EXO movements. So when you're firing remember I talked about ping that shows those EXO movements? Well, this blast suppressor, when you're using your EXO movements, I guess they would show on the minimap when you're boost jumping, boost dodging, and sliding. They probably would show up somehow when you're using those abilities. But I guess when you use this blast suppressor, those don't show up. So it's a counter to ping, to EXO ping or whatever it's called. So that one might have to stay in the game. I guess we'll see how they do that. And then Hardwired, of course, immune to EMP, stuns, all that kind of stuff. And the only other thing I thought that was interesting was there's an attachment called a parabolic microphone. And it puts people on the map that are using suppressor. So if someone's using a suppressor with this parabolic microphone, you actually get to pick them up. So I'll start with Hitch, just your overall read on the perks. I mean, they're very similar to Black Ops 2. Nothing looks too scary. But is there anything that I mentioned that you think just isn't playable?
It all just depends on how it plays out. Obviously, the danger close is kind of iffy. I don't know. That's really all But then again, you could just jetpack out of the way. So I don't know. Yeah, you can't really like have an opinion. I don't know. It's hard to have an opinion on all this stuff.
It is. You're right. I agree. It's pretty difficult because the game we just saw footage and Chaos Silencer was saying that the nades shoot out really fast. So you have to time them like when you throw your frag because it bounces like around the map and off the map if you shoot it and you just shoot it. Because when you think you shoot a projectile, you don't think you'll down and then launch. And so someone could literally just dodge out of the way of MX and watch it go right past them, and kill your teammate. I mean, this game is going to be interesting.
I'm excited to see Killa's pinball strats where he just like bounces it off like 4 different walls and it's going to land in the hard point.
Different. It's like when you're right kills. Here. I think, I don't know if you guys have seen
hashtag pinball strat.
Zergriz used to do the things where the kill cam challenge where he would say you have to be in a pub lobby, search and destroy, you have to plant the bomb right here, and then you have to throw this knife at this cloud and it's going to bounce off the tree and then the truck and kill someone. And the first person to do it, they got like G Fuel or something. And so you think that was interesting. Now it's going to be like, plant the bomb and then bounce your frag grenade off your teammate and through the basketball hoop, because the basketball hoop is on that prison map, through the basketball hoop and kill the opponent after it rolls 3 feet to the bomb. It's going to, I don't know if you guys saw the variable grenade or whatever it is, a variable like
gone.
It's gone. Oh, you think it's going to get banned right away?
You can't, it would make the metagame too hard. It would make it a little too much. A grenade where you can pretty much pick if you want to smoke or a stun or I forget what the other two. Yeah, it was you could pick 4 different grenades. And then one was one of the new grenades. I couldn't remember what it was.
What if they made it Crush where you couldn't pick? where it was like that dice
What's the
thing
point
that's on
then?
Ghost.
Oh.
Where you just
It's like a random.
every life you start.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh, I have
lethal
smoke.
grenade and then smoke.
Oh, I have flash.
Nobody would use it then.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably.
That'd be interesting just for novelty purposes. Like someone shoots a grenade and a smoke grenade comes out. It'd be quite interesting for novelty purposes.
Yeah, that's not exactly what I'm playing for, but we'll go.
It'd be interesting.
You should be forced
Just
to
a
use
joke.
that perk. The
Yeah,
random,
Hey, that
the
would be
random
interesting.
secondary
Like,
perk.
that would be interesting. Like, in all honesty, like if you forced to use this random secondary, and then they could use a wild card and get one they want, but you forced them to use that variable grenade.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. All right, so last question is, what are you guys most excited for about this game, and then what are you most afraid of after your initial impressions? And I'm gonna start with Rage. I'll go to Crush, and then Hitch.
To be honest, it's the first Call of Duty title what I've actually been excited for, because in the reveal, we seen their focus was a lot on esports. The 3 people who they interviewed was obviously all figures in esports. Fair enough, it was European, so I don't think the Americans were there at the time. We had Oxygen, Bricey, and Fearcrads. They're all key figureheads in the EU's esports. So obviously that's nice to see that they're focusing more on esports and they're not interviewing like interviewers such as Ali A, who's more for the casual. And then obviously the broadcaster mode, I'll be personally looking to have a play with that, hence my background. And then also the ranked playlist. Obviously, we heard that something similar to League Play is going to be coming back, so that's going to be very interesting because, you know, obviously Clan vs Clan is a fantastic game mode. I don't really want to see it go, but unfortunately things move on.
Oh, man. Yeah, Fearcrats just apologized that he couldn't make it on the show. All right.
Yeah, I took a spot.
Crush.
He won't mind.
I'm most excited for the movement, probably, like, and seeing the meta that it's going to bring. But I'm also most scared about the movement and seeing the meta it's going to bring. I mean, it's either going to make the game really, really good, or it's going to make it Titanfall or Titanfall, or, you know, die in 3 weeks. So, I mean, I'm really excited about this game because I think it's funny. You know, I like the classic CODs, you know, COD 4, you know, all that. And everybody every year is like, I want a new COD. I want a new COD. And then a new COD comes out and they're like, oh my God, I don't like this.
Yeah.
So I really like that it's really different. It's not just, you know, an upgraded version of a previous title, but at the same time, it could also be a bad thing. So it's too early to tell.
I'm sorry.
What happened?
What?
Somebody in the chat just said,
They wanted to say
Hodor.
Man, this is not Game of Thrones. Get out of here. I'm Jon Snow. What you talking about? But yeah, so I'm really excited because it's something completely different, and then I'm nervous because it's completely different at the same time.
Yeah, it's very scary. I have a before you go, Hitch. This guy Adam Corey, he tweets at me a lot. He said, "As long as we can plant and defuse the bomb in advanced warfare, I'll be happy."
Hashtag bomb.
Hashtag
my
bomb
thing.
glitch.
It's baby steps. I mean, obviously the franchise has only been going for what 8-9 years now. So, you know, as long as, if you know, this game, we just refined planting the bomb, and then we'll maybe take a step further, and, you know, maybe bring Hardpoint back. It's just baby steps. Give him time. I'm sure obviously budget is tight, the constraints are tight, and they're doing the best they can. Okay, so stop the hate.
And they haven't done an update since that either.
They said baby steps. As long as we can plant the bomb, we're making progress. All right,
Yeah,
here.
it can't go any worse.
So what I'm most excited about for Advanced Warfare is to hopefully make a YouTube video where I do something insane to my Ghost disc. And I don't know what that's going to be.
And you trade it in and get all $5 from GameStop for it.
Oh,
It's not even worth it.
27 cents trade in.
Dude, but I'm super excited about actually having developer support again. And I'm excited about the game types because the game types in Ghost were pretty awful. And I'm excited again about having hopefully a League Play system because League Play is a lot of fun. The only thing I'm worried about is basically what we go through every time a new COD comes out, where everyone's so vocal about what should be banned. And I don't want to be ban heavy. I feel like that's why Black Ops 2 succeeded so well, is because everyone liked it and we didn't ban everything. And so yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Advanced Warfare right now. You can't really have too many thoughts just because we don't have too much to go on.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, because to be real, the reason that there's people are so ban heavy with Ghost is because of what, like a squad mate, Riley. I mean, there was things in that game that the kill streaks themselves, like you couldn't even kill anybody with the highest kill streak in the game. It was like useless. And so I think that it was like, and Riley was one of the most frustrating things I've ever experienced in a video. I'd rather have someone get 20 dogs running around the map killing me and my teammates than one little dog that when I kill them, he chases me down and I'm 20 feet away and he chases me down and jumps up a ladder and kills me. I mean, I made a video where I think it was Golden Boy that did a video where Riley ran and jumped up a ladder and killed him. And I was like, what? Seriously?
Dude, when I'm talking about ban heavy, I'm talking about like actual games. I'm not talking about ghosts. I'm talking about...
No, but that's the thing. I think for Black Ops 2, the reason it wasn't ban heavy is because it was a good game out of the gate. Like, it was playable the way it was. Yeah. Like, yeah, there were things that were OP when we used to have sentry guns in competitive and you could put trophy systems on it and never destroy it. I think that there were things that we needed to get rid of. The hunter killer drone that won, events. So I think, and then we saw a hunter killer, who was it, JCap or Merc or somebody that like dodged it and killed somebody.
That was crazy.
Well, and that's the thing, that those were unreliable things that needed to be taken out of the game. But Ghost out of the gate had things that were just embarrassing to the competitive community.
Yeah, like the game.
So, and I'm not Ghost bashing, but what I'll say is that at least we have Black Ops 2 to go back to, and Call of Duty Ghost. I've tried it, and I've tried it again and again and again. I've actually had some good games on it. But sitting with my Remington for half the map so that I can go positive, it's just not fun. I'm really horrible with like the MTAR and stuff like that because everybody's using the Vector these days. And so I think that this game, I think it's going to be better than Ghost, but I hope that we haven't leaped. I think they did what Respawn Entertainment couldn't do. Like, putting in Titans killed that game, just killed it. And so I think that Ghost, or I think that Advanced Warfare, I just hope that it hasn't gone too far. That's my fear, is that it hasn't given us too much of a window into the future of Call of Duty, because you're going to be asking a lot of pros, and I know there's some pros that are going to out of the gate say, strip it down, get rid of the exosuit, take away all the abilities, blah 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 blah, just have the simple perks in Black Ops 2. And I think that's the wrong decision to go that far backwards. Black Ops 2 is revolutionary because of score streaks, and it brought score streaks. It made them matter, where a Hellstorm could win you a capture the flag and save the game. A lightning strike, if you did it with enough timing, could kill people at the exact right moment and save a game of Hardpoint, and so, and you had to, or you could hide under the tree and the Hellstorm couldn't hit you on raid, and so it just added an element to the game that was interesting. So I'm hoping there's some score streaks on this game that are actually viable. So the last thing is, and we did this last time, we're going to do it again. Everybody gets a final word. I'm going to go around. You can say whatever you want. You only got 30 seconds or less. Don't cuss, but you can say whatever you want. Don't break your Ghost disc, because you still may need to play it, Hitch, but you guys can say whatever. And I'm going to go Crush, Hitch, Rage, and then I'll go last.
All right. I'm really excited. I'm actually, just even from the 3 minutes, I'm really excited for what they're going to do. And I honestly can't wait to see, more gameplay. I think it's going to be a nice change from Ghost, because anything's a nice change from Ghost. But other than that, thanks for having me on, guys. I love you all, except Alex, because you're from the EU.
All right, I'm excited about it. I'm super excited about, as I said, developmental support again, and just being able to play or being able to have fun in a Call of Duty again, because I've heard that, above all, it's a lot of fun. Even pubs are fun. The different game types are fun. So I'm excited about that. I also would like to just say that if you're a pro player, or if you're someone who's really icon in the community, you probably won't even see this, but like everyone else's opinions like matter. Like all the AM people, all the pub people, everyone who is invested into this game, your opinions matter. So you're not like a part of a clique that can just, make all the rules and feel like that, you don't have to, respect someone else's opinion. So, but I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the whole game.
Obviously, the esports is very interesting with the introduction of the new broadcaster mode is obviously going to be my main focal point. I'm going to be around that for a lot. Obviously, it should be very interesting to see whether they can live up to the hype. They really have got low expectations, especially with such a poor game of Ghost. So, to be honest, we just really need to hope and hope that all the speculation's together. Yeah, so that's me. Hopefully, I'm back again. And there we go. See you soon, hopefully.
All right. And I just wanted to alert you guys to the fact that I will be having a weekly show on the Gambit Gamers TV channel starting on the 25th. It'll be short, but it'll be like a kind of weekly update for COD Esports. And let me know by Twitter or by chat on this stream if you want us to do the STiKS Live every single week. That is the plan as of right now. And we're looking at this time frame, like Tuesdays, right after the ESR. But also, let me know if you want us to transition to MLG.TV, because that's a conversation I'm probably going to have tomorrow with Sir Puckett. So this is your boy Kingdom Soldier, Rage, Crush, Hitch, and we will see you next time. Peace out.